There are seasons in life when everything feels stretched, when progress seems slower than expected, when answers are not clear, and when the path forward feels uncertain. These moments can be difficult to understand, especially when you are trying to remain faithful. It can feel like something is being held back, like you are standing in between where you are and where you believe you should be. But the Bible often reveals that these kinds of seasons are not empty. They are meaningful, and in many cases, they are part of how God prepares a person. Scripture does not describe testing as something meant to harm, but as something that reveals and strengthens what is already within. In Deuteronomy 8:2, it says, "And thou shalt remember all the way which the Lord thy God led thee, to humble thee, and to prove thee, to know what was in thine heart." This shows that testing is not about God needing information, but about bringing the condition of the heart into the open, where it can be shaped and refined. These seasons can take many forms. They may look like delays, where something you hoped for does not happen as quickly as expected. They may feel like pressure, where challenges seem to come one after another. They may even feel like silence, where direction is not as clear as it once was. But the Bible reminds us that God is not absent in these moments. He is present, and He is working in ways that are often not immediately visible. James 1:2-3 gives a perspective that is not always easy, but deeply meaningful, my brethren. Count it all joy when ye fall into divers temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. This passage does not deny the difficulty of testing, but it points to its purpose. It produces endurance, steadiness, and a deeper kind of faith that is not easily shaken. It is important to understand that the Bible does not promise a breakthrough in the way people sometimes expect, something sudden, dramatic, or outwardly visible. Instead, it speaks about growth, refinement, and preparation. What God does within a person often matters more than what changes around them. And yet, over time, that inward work begins to shape how a person walks, responds, and moves forward. I have often realized that the seasons that felt the most uncertain were sometimes the ones that changed me the most quietly. In this message, we are going to look at several signs that may reflect what the Bible teaches about these testing seasons. These are not meant to create pressure or to suggest that every difficulty has a simple explanation. Rather, they are meant to help you see your situation through the lens of Scripture. Because when you begin to understand that God may be working within these moments, even the most uncertain seasons can take on a different meaning, one that is grounded in purpose, patience, and trust. Number 1, you are being called to remain faithful in difficult circumstances. One of the first signs that you may be in a season of testing is the call to remain faithful when circumstances are not easy. Faithfulness is often spoken about in simple terms, but in practice, it becomes most visible when things are challenging. It is not difficult to remain steady when everything is clear and comfortable, but when situations become uncertain, when effort does not seem to produce immediate results, or when progress feels slow, faithfulness takes on a deeper meaning. The Bible places great importance on this kind of consistency. In 1 Corinthians 4:2, it says, "Moreover, it is required in stewards that a man be found faithful." This verse does not describe faithfulness as optional or occasional. It is something required, something that defines how a person handles what has been entrusted to them, regardless of circumstances. In seasons of testing, faithfulness often looks quiet. It may be continuing to do what is right without recognition. It may be maintaining integrity when it would be easier to compromise. It may be choosing patience when frustration would feel more natural. These are not always visible actions, but they reflect a heart that is steady. Faithfulness in difficulty also reveals intention. It shows whether a person is committed only when conditions are favorable, or whether their trust in God remains when circumstances are less certain. This is why these seasons matter, They bring clarity to what might otherwise remain hidden. Another verse that reflects this idea is Galatians 6:9, "And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap, if we faint not." This encouragement acknowledges that weariness can come. It recognizes that doing what is right over time, especially without immediate results, can feel heavy. But it also points to the importance of continuing. Remaining faithful does not mean ignoring difficulty. It means choosing not to be defined by it. It is the decision to continue walking in what is right, even when the outcome is not yet visible. This kind of faithfulness builds strength that is not dependent on circumstances. It is also important to understand that God sees what others may not. Faithfulness in hidden places is not overlooked. The Bible consistently shows that what is done in quiet obedience carries value. These moments are part of preparation, even when they do not appear significant on the surface. Over time, this steady faithfulness creates a foundation. It shapes character, builds endurance, and prepares a person to handle greater responsibility. Without this foundation, larger responsibilities can become difficult to sustain. In this way, being called to remain faithful in difficult circumstances is not a sign of being stuck. It is a sign of being formed. It reflects a process where consistency is being strengthened and where the heart is learning to remain steady, regardless of what is happening externally. Number 2, you are experiencing delays that test your patience. Another common sign of a testing season is the experience of delay. There are moments when something seems close, when direction feels clear, or when expectation begins to rise. Yet the outcome does not arrive as quickly as hoped. This kind of waiting can be one of the most challenging aspects of spiritual growth. The Bible speaks directly about the importance of patience in these moments. Psalm 2:7-14 says, "Wait on the Lord, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thine heart." This verse does not present waiting as passive or empty. It describes it as something that requires courage. Waiting involves trust, especially when the reason for the delay is not fully understood. Delays often test more than patience. They reveal expectations, assumptions, and the desire for control. When something does not happen according to personal timing, it can lead to frustration or doubt. But these moments also create an opportunity to trust God's timing rather than relying only on personal understanding. Another verse that reflects this is Lamentations 3:25-26. "The Lord is good unto them that wait for him, to the soul that seeketh him. It is good that a man should both hope and quietly wait for the salvation of the Lord." This passage connects waiting with hope. It shows that waiting is not about giving up expectation, but about holding that expectation with trust and patience. During delays, it can feel like nothing is happening. But the Bible suggests that waiting is not empty. It is often a time when something is being prepared, whether in circumstances, in timing, or within the person themselves. Growth continues, even when progress is not immediately visible. Waiting also teaches a different kind of discipline. It requires a person to remain steady without constant confirmation. It builds the ability to continue forward without immediate reassurance. This kind of strength becomes important later, when responsibility increases and situations require stability. It is also during delays that motives can become clearer. A person may begin to reflect on why they desire a certain outcome. Is it for recognition, for comfort, or for a deeper purpose? These questions are not always easy, but they are part of the refining process. Over time, waiting begins to take on a different meaning. It is no longer seen only as something to endure, but as something that contributes to growth. The patience developed in these seasons becomes part of a stronger foundation. In this way, experiencing delays is not necessarily a sign that something is wrong. According to Scripture, it can be a sign that something is being aligned, timing is being prepared, and the heart is being strengthened to carry what comes next. Number 3, you are facing situations that reveal your heart. As God allows seasons of testing, one of the most important things that begins to happen is the revealing of what is within the heart. This is not always comfortable because it brings to the surface thoughts, attitudes, and reactions that may have remained hidden under easier circumstances. But the Bible shows that this revealing is part of God's purpose, not to condemn, but to bring clarity and transformation. Deuteronomy 8 explains this clearly, "And thou shalt remember all the way which the Lord thy God led thee, to humble thee and to prove thee, to know what was in thine heart, whether thou wouldest keep his commandments or no." This verse shows that testing reveals the condition of the heart. It brings forward what might otherwise remain unseen. In practical terms, this can happen through everyday situations. A moment of frustration may reveal impatience. A delay may reveal anxiety or a desire for control. A difficult interaction may reveal pride or defensiveness. These reactions are not always intentional, but they reflect what is present beneath the surface. This process can feel uncomfortable because it challenges how a person sees themselves. It may reveal areas that need growth or change. But this is also where transformation begins. What is brought into the light can be addressed. What is recognized can be shaped. Another verse that reflects this idea is Psalm 139:23-24. "Search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me, and know my thoughts, and see if there be any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting." This prayer shows a willingness to be examined, not out of fear, but out of a desire for growth and alignment with God. As a person becomes aware of these inner responses, there is an opportunity to respond differently. Instead of ignoring or justifying them, they can be brought before God in honesty. This creates space for change. Over time, reactions begin to shift. What once led to frustration may lead to patience. What once led to fear may lead to trust. It is important to understand that this process is gradual. The heart is not transformed instantly, but the awareness itself is a sign of growth. It shows that something deeper is taking place. This revealing also strengthens sincerity. A person becomes less focused on outward appearance and more attentive to what is happening within. This leads to a more genuine relationship with God, one that is not based on image, but on truth. In this way, facing situations that reveal your heart is not something to avoid. It is part of being refined. It shows that God is working at a deeper level, shaping not only actions, but intentions. And as the heart becomes more aligned with Him, it becomes more ready for what lies ahead. Number 4, you feel weak, yet you continue forward in faith. Another sign of being in a season of testing is the experience of weakness combined with the decision to keep moving forward. This may seem like a contradiction. Strength is often associated with confidence and clarity, yet the Bible presents a different picture, one where strength is often developed through weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9 expresses this truth clearly. "My grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness." This statement shows that weakness is not a barrier to God's work. In fact, it can become the place where His strength is most clearly seen. There are moments when a person may feel uncertain, tired, or aware of their limitations. Plans may not feel secure. Answers may not be complete. Yet despite these feelings, there is a quiet decision to continue. This is where faith becomes active. It is not based on having full control or complete understanding, but on trusting God enough to take the next step. Another verse that reflects this is Isaiah 4:29. "He giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might He increaseth strength." This shows that God meets people in their weakness. He does not require them to be strong on their own before coming to Him. Instead, He provides strength where it is needed. Continuing forward in faith during weakness is not about ignoring difficulty. It is about choosing not to be defined by it. It is the decision to keep trusting, even when confidence feels low. This kind of faith is often quieter, but it is also deeper. It is not dependent on emotion, but on commitment. These moments are significant because they shift the foundation of trust. Instead of relying on personal ability, a person begins to rely more on God's presence. This creates a different kind of stability. one that is not easily shaken by changing circumstances. Over time, this experience builds resilience. A person who has learned to continue in faith during weakness develops a steadiness that is not easily lost. They become less dependent on perfect conditions and more grounded in trust. It is also important to recognize that weakness often brings clarity. It reveals where dependence is needed and where strength must come from. This awareness becomes valuable as responsibility increases, because it prevents a person from relying solely on themselves. In this way, feeling weak yet continuing forward is not a sign of failure, it is a sign of growth. It shows that faith is becoming more real, more stable, and more rooted in God rather than in personal strength. Number 5. You are learning obedience in uncomfortable situations. As God leads a person through seasons of testing, obedience often becomes more challenging, but also more meaningful. It is one thing to follow God when the path is clear and comfortable. It is another to obey when the situation feels uncertain, inconvenient, or even difficult. The Bible shows that this kind of obedience is an important part of spiritual growth. Hebrews 5:8 says, "Though he were a son, yet learned he obedience by the things which he suffered." This verse, speaking of Christ, reveals that obedience can be learned and deepened through experience. It is not always immediate or effortless. It develops over time, often through situations that stretch the heart. Uncomfortable situations often bring choices into focus. A person may know what is right, but following through may require sacrifice, patience, or humility. It may mean letting go of personal preference, choosing forgiveness, or acting with integrity when it would be easier not to. In these moments, obedience becomes more than a concept. It becomes a decision. Another verse that reflects this is John 14:23. "If a man love me, he will keep my words." This shows that obedience is not separate from relationship. It is connected to love. As a person grows closer to God, there is a greater willingness to follow His word, even when it is not easy. These moments of obedience often feel small, but they carry weight. They shape how a person responds in larger situations. Each decision builds a pattern. Over time, obedience becomes more consistent, not because situations are easier, but because trust has grown. It is important to understand that this process does not remove struggle. There may still be hesitation or internal conflict, but the direction of the heart begins to change. Instead of resisting, there is a growing willingness to align with God's will. Obedience in difficulty also builds confidence, not in oneself, but in God's guidance. As a person sees that following Him leads to what is right, even if not immediately comfortable, trust becomes stronger. This creates a foundation that supports future decisions. In this way, learning obedience in uncomfortable situations is a clear sign of preparation. It shows that the heart is being shaped to follow God not only in ease, but in all circumstances. And this kind of obedience becomes essential for what lies ahead. Number 6. You are being refined through trials. Another important sign of God's work in a testing season is the process of refinement. The Bible often uses the image of refining precious metals to describe how faith is strengthened. This process involves heat, pressure, and time, but its purpose is not destruction, it is purification. 1 Peter 1:7 explains this clearly, that the trial of your faith, being much more precious than of gold that perisheth though it be tried with fire, might be found unto praise and honor and glory. This comparison shows that faith is valuable, and that trials serve to refine it, removing what does not belong and strengthening what remains. Refinement often happens through repeated challenges. Situations may arise that test patience, humility, or trust. While these experiences can feel difficult, they are not without purpose. Each one contributes to shaping a more steady and mature faith. During this process, certain attitudes may begin to change. Reactions may become less impulsive and more thoughtful. There may be a growing sense of calm where there was once frustration. These changes are not always immediate, but they become noticeable over time. Another verse that reflects this process is Malachi 3:3, "And he shall sit as a refiner and purifier of silver." This image shows care and intention. A refiner does not act carelessly. The process is controlled, purposeful, and attentive. In the same way, God's work in a person's life is not random. It is guided with purpose. Refinement also brings clarity. It helps a person see what is truly important. Distractions may lose their appeal. Priorities may shift. What once seemed central may become less significant, while what aligns with God's will becomes more meaningful. It is important to recognize that refinement takes time. It is not a single moment, but a process. There may be periods of progress and moments of difficulty, but over time, the result becomes evident in a more stable and grounded faith. This process also prepares a person for greater responsibility. Just as refined metal is stronger and more reliable, a refined character is better able to handle what is entrusted to it. Without this process, responsibility can become overwhelming. With it, a person is more equipped to carry it well. In this way, being refined through trials is not something to avoid, even though it is challenging. It is a sign that something valuable is being formed. It reflects a process where faith is being strengthened, character is being shaped, and readiness is being developed. Number 7. You are developing a deeper trust in God's timing. As all these experiences come together, faithfulness, waiting, testing, obedience, and refinement, they begin to lead to one of the most important outcomes, a deeper trust in God's timing. This kind of trust does not develop quickly. It grows through experience, especially through moments when timing is not fully understood. Ecclesiastes 3:11 says, "He hath made everything beautiful in his time." This verse reminds us that timing is not random. There is a purpose behind when things happen, even if that purpose is not immediately clear. Trusting this requires patience and perspective. There are moments when a person may feel ready for something, yet the opportunity does not appear. There may be times when progress seems delayed, or when answers come more slowly than expected. These experiences can be difficult, but they also create space for trust to grow. Another verse that reflects this is Psalm 37:7. "Rest in the Lord, and wait patiently for Him." This instruction connects rest with waiting. It suggests that waiting is not meant to be filled with anxiety, but with trust. This does not mean the absence of questions, but it does mean a willingness to place those questions in God's hands. As trust in God's timing deepens, the need for immediate answers begins to lessen. A person becomes more comfortable moving forward step by step, even without seeing the entire path. This creates a sense of stability that is not dependent on constant clarity. This trust also changes how a person responds to delay. Instead of seeing it only as an obstacle, it begins to be understood as part of a process. There is a growing awareness that timing involves preparation, alignment, and purpose. Over time, this leads to a quieter confidence. A person may not know exactly what lies ahead, but they trust that it will unfold in the right time. This does not remove all uncertainty, but it changes how that uncertainty is carried. In this way, developing trust in God's timing is a strong sign that faith is maturing. It shows that the relationship with God is not based only on outcomes, but on trust in His character. And this trust becomes the foundation for moving forward with peace, even when the full picture is not yet visible. Conclusion: faith before fulfillment. When we look at these signs together, a clear pattern begins to emerge. The Bible does not focus on sudden or dramatic outcomes, but on the process that comes before them. It shows that testing, waiting, and refinement are not interruptions to growth, but essential parts of it. Each of these signs, faithfulness in difficulty, patience in delay, the revealing of the heart, continuing through weakness, obedience in discomfort, refinement through trials, and trust in God's timing, points to something deeper. They reflect a process where God is shaping a person from within. It is important to remember that the Bible does not promise a breakthrough in the way it is often described. Instead, it emphasizes transformation. What God forms within a person becomes the foundation for what comes next. This inward work is steady, intentional, and often quiet. There may be moments when this process feels slow or unclear. There may be questions about timing or direction, but Scripture consistently reminds us that God is present in these seasons. He is not distant or inactive. He is working in ways that are not always visible but are always meaningful. Faith before fulfillment is about trusting God without needing to see everything at once. It is about continuing to walk forward, even when the outcome is not yet clear. Over time, this kind of faith becomes steady and resilient. In the end, what matters most is not how quickly things change, but how deeply a person is shaped. And when that shaping has taken place, what follows will come in its proper time, carried on a foundation that is strong and prepared.